Doo-doo-doo-doo. Make sure this is working. Says I'm streaming, but it does not appear to actually be live. Let's see if that's true or not true. Okay, now it does say live. Just an update. Perfect. Alright, there I am. What's good, everybody? Take KZ back here with another video. My head is chopped off a little bit there. Today we are going to talk about the Nagoya Basho. We are 2/3 of the way through here. So we got 10 out of 15 bouts done. The field is starting to take shape to see who's going to win. So we are going to go over where we currently stand, talk about some upcoming matches, do a little bit of predictions, see what we think here. So we have two Rikishis at 9-1 on the tournament so far on the Basho. Koto Iho is Makashira 7 East. He's 9-1. He lost his first bout, and so he is kind of the hottest Rikishi in the tournament right now with 9 straight wins. Ao Nishiki is the Sekiwak number 2 out of the West, also 9-1. So he's higher up the standings. He's got the harder competition of the two. So I think Koto Iho is actually kind of the favorite right now because he's not going to face any of the upper echelon guys. He's not going to face any of the guys other than Makashiras. So he shouldn't have too many hard bouts left. We'll dive into their schedule a little bit more. And then we got 5 guys at 8-2. So those are all our Kachi Koshis right now through 2/3 of the tournament. Takayasu is the other Megashira number 7. Kirishima is making a Yokozuna bid at Ozeki 1 on the East. He's 8-2. He had a really disappointing loss the other day to push him to that second loss, which took him out of the driver's seat here. He should face Ono Nishiki at some point. It's not scheduled today. One thing I wish Sumo was a little better at, and maybe I just need to learn better places to look, but it seems like they only schedule one day at a time, so I can see today's bouts that will take place here in the next 5 hours or so, but I can't see the schedule further into the future than that. But I think those two should clash just based on their rankings, and they haven't faced off yet. And then the other 3 guys are lower ranks towards the bottom of the Makuchi Basho here. Aso no Yama is Magashira 10 at 8-2. Shishi, the other Ukrainian, is Magashira 14, so he has kind of the easiest path. And Taki Rufuji is Magashira 13, also 8-2. And then you got 3 guys at 7-3 that are really on the outside looking in. They would have to win out and have a lot to break their way. So I have only watched the May Basho prior to this. We did get a playoff. We had two Rikishis, I think, at 12-3. I don't think they were 13-2. They were there 13-2 or 12-3. So we had a final playoff at the end. I'm not sure what happens if more than 2 have a tied record. But I think if we're gonna get to like one of these 12-3 guys, it's probably gonna be a multi-way tie. Nishiki Fuji, Magashira 13, and Hakano Fuji has a Yokozuna win, Magashira 3, so he's towards the top, as well as Atami Fuji, Sekiwaki 1 as well. So he's got some tough bouts coming up. So he has the chance to really play spoiler. He hasn't fought, I don't know, Shiki yet. I don't remember, at least. I know he hasn't fought Kirishima. So let's look into some of the individuals here, just so we can kind of quickly see who he's faced. So Shiki has already beaten both Yokozunas, so he has kind of gone through the toughest tasks so far. He has not faced Atami Fuji yet. So Ashino Shiki, Kirishima, and Atamo Fuji should all clash at some point here coming up. I don't believe Kirishima's faced them yet either. Kirishima also does need to face both Yokozuna still. So he has definitely got the harder path of the two top guys here. But like I said, I think Kota Iho probably has the easiest path as kind of the middle of the tournament guy. And then the flip side of this is we got 5 Makekaushis so far. Onokatsu is Magashira 15, so he is really in jeopardy of dropping down to Jiro if he doesn't turn it around here. He can't get a winning record, but he could get, if he could win the last 5, he's 7-8, which probably would save his spot. He probably needs to get somewhere like to 5 wins, I think, to stay at the upper level. The other 4 guys here are probably safe. Mika Kiyomi is Magashira 11, so he is kind of on the brink. But you're talking about falling like 5-6 places. He would have to probably continue this current trajectory and only win 1 or 2 matches the whole Basho. But I think if he can get to 4 or 5, he's probably safe. And then Oho has been the biggest tournament disappointment as a Kumasubi at 1-9. Hirodomi, Magashira 3, also been a bit of a disappointment. But I think the story with both those guys is they're too good for the bottom of the bracket, but they're not quite good enough for the top of the bracket. So that's kind of what happens. And then, of course, Wakataka Kage had the emergency surgery right before the Basho, so he's missed all 11 bouts. I think he will stay in the top at this point, and still be in the Makuchi for the September Basho, but he's probably not going to be healthy for that, and then he's going to drop down a few ranks. Alright, so let's look at kind of the top matches of today, and then we'll give some predictions. So I highlighted 6 matches here. Let's see if I find them here. So Atami Fuji versus Onosato. So you got one of the 2 Yokozunas here facing off against the 7-3 Atami Fuji, who's still got the outside shot at potentially winning the Basho. These are 2 of the big boys here. Onosato, because he's so tall, is actually heavier than Atami Fuji. Their record all time, Onosano has the 6-2 record, or I'm blanking on the word there. 6-2 overall between their career matches. So certainly has the upper hand there. Kirishima, his 8-2. He probably needs to win out or come close to winning out. He has got Magashira 4 in Yamamoto at 5-5. So a fairly decent opponent here. They're both 2 of the older Yokozunas here, both 30 and over. Kirishima's 5-3 lifetime. Looks like he's won the last 5 in a row as well. So he definitely has the advantage going in. He needs this win more than Ichi Yamamoto, who's basically just fighting to get to Kachikoshi at this point, which means he has to go 3-2 the rest of the way. So he can afford this loss. But obviously won't be going for it. Would love to play spoiler here. Gonoyama is taking on Ando Noshiki. I like the Ukrainians' chances here. Gonoyama is 5-5, and he kind of fights like that. Although he's won 5 of the last 7, so he's turned it around after a tough start. This will be their first career matchup, so we've never seen this one before. But I just don't think Gonoyama is quite strong enough or talented enough to throw Ando Noshiki off his game. And he just looks kind of destined here. He looks fully healthy after missing the May Basho and getting hurt in the March Basho. He looks fully healthy and back on his Yakuza track here. If he wins this, he wouldn't win as Ozeki because he's a Sekiwaki, but he would move right back into Ozeki. Same story as Ichi Yamamoto for Gonoyama. Really just fighting to get to Kochikachi at this point. But this is probably one of his toughest, if not his toughest opponent left. So he can afford to take this loss as well. Let's see, where are we up next here? Takayasu is taking on Hakano Fuji. So this is probably our best matchup of the day. 8-2 taking on 7-3. So both these guys think they still got a chance at winning the Basho here. Let's see. They are 2-3. So Hakano Fuji has the slight career winning record over the two. But Takayatsu has won the last two in a row. He seems slightly better on form, although Hakano Fuji is higher ranked. Takayatsu, I believe, was injured the last Basho as well. Let's take a quick glance at that. Yes, he did get hurt. So 2-2-11, which is why he's fallen so far in the standings. But they're pretty even, both healthy if they both have that same healthy kind of standing here. We did that one. Asanoyama. That must be towards the bottom here. That's too far. There we go. Our other high-profile bout here. So this is much lower in the Magashiras, but both are 8-2. So this is our highest winning percentage matchup here. As Asanoyama takes on Takaro Fuji. Even though both these guys are 8-2, they've kind of slipped under my radar. I've watched every match this Basho, but I don't really recall much about either of these guys. Asanoyama has the 2-0 record, lifetime. He is the better sumo. He just is plagued with injuries. I was looking into his career earlier. He's gotten as high ranked as Ozeki. So this is kind of what he does, is he gets ranked really high, he gets hurt, he falls all the way down, he climbs back up. So right now he's a Magashira 10, but he's really a top of the bracket kind of fighter here, which is why he's 8-2. Takaro Fuji, the story is not quite that high. His highest rank is Magashira 4. So he's a little lower than his highest overall rank, but he's more in line where he is now. So Asanoyama is 59% favorite here. That seems about right. And then the final premier matchup we have is leading Rikishi Kota Iho is taking on Shishi here. So Shishi's having a great run, 8-2. He started 6-0. He's fallen back to earth here to get to 8-2, 2-2 over his last four. He's a kind of a career low at Magashira. So this is one of his best career performances, but what is it? The glass slipper is about to turn midnight, or that is not the saying, but I'm trying to do like the Cinderella analogy here. Kota Iho is 23, so he's a much younger fighter. Who's still on the rise. This is his highest rank at Magashira 7. He's obviously going to be ranked higher than this after this. I think he's probably the heavy favorite here, although Shishi's got a pretty good weight advantage on him. He's got a whole, 35 kilograms on him. So we're talking, that's like 75 pounds or so bigger than him. He's got the height advantage too. But he's not nearly as technical as Kota Iho. We see with the top three guys, they all kind of skew towards this exotic style, which means they really can throw stuff you're not expecting, which I think is going to throw Shishi off. Although Shishi, in his two losses, has really been more overpowered than anything. So it is an interesting matchup here. Shishi does have the career record over him, three wins, 2 losses. But Kota Iho has the last 2 wins as well here. So a bit of history between these two. This is probably the highest stake match they've ever had. I'm expecting Kota Iho to win. We'll see what happens. Other than that, let's see here. Let's take a quick glance through who he's fought so far. I think I got to do it this way. Oh yeah, that's a little better here. So now if we go into the actual fighter, you can kind of see who all he's fought. So you kind of see here, he's all middle of the road guys. Both Magashira 6s, both Magashira 5s, both 8s. The other 7. He's fought a 4, he's fought a 9, he's fought a 12. Shishi's a 14 here. So you can see he's probably not gonna fight anyone over like Magashira 4 this whole tournament. But if we go towards like the top guys here, they've got tougher bouts coming up here. So even though this is Anoshiki, so even though Anoshiki has beaten both Yokozunas here, he also has beaten the Ozeki West. He still has Kirishima coming up as Ozeki East. And he lost to Yojo no Fuji, the Kumasubi. He's got the other one of those coming up. And he hasn't faced any Sekiwakis yet either. So Wakataka Kage is hurt, so there's only 3 of them. But he still potentially has 2 more coming up as well. So it's really all like top level guys, even though he hasn't faced the Yokozunas. He's kind of got the who's who left. Same story here with Kirishima. I think he's actually had a slightly easier schedule than Ananoshiki here. Yeah, he's faced 2 Sekiwakis. He's faced 2 Kumasubis. He hasn't faced either Yokozuna. He hasn't faced the other Ozeki yet, and he hasn't faced the third Sekiwaki, which is Onoshiki. So he has a pretty tall task left here too, because out of those 5 bouts, he's going to face both Yokozunas. He's going to face Ananoshiki, and he's going to face the other Ozeki, which I am blanking on who that is right now. Who's had a decent run. I think he's 5-5. So he's not like in the running to win it, but he's a formidable opponent. Yeah, Kota Zakura at 5-5 here. I think outside of the guys really competing for the Basho, following it and kind of knowing some of the names from May, and following along, the guy I've really enjoyed the most, I think, is Fujinokawa, Magashira 1 in the East. He's got the 2 gold stars there because he's beaten both Yokozunas. He's 4-6. He's like the littlest guy. The only guy potentially smaller than him is Asazokura. Koryo. I said that so wrong the first time. Magashira 16 down here, who's just a little muscle freak. Those are the 2 guys that don't look like traditional Yokozunas because they're so small and agile. So he's got a very fun, unique style where he is essentially trying to like trip you and use agility. We see the 3 guys here with the H. That's their highest career rank. So Waka no Kosho started really well, 5-2, and then he got hurt. So unfortunately, he's probably going to end up falling out of that rank 11. He maybe will hold on to it. We'll see, because a lot of those guys at that lower level aren't faring too well. Let's see. I think that about covers it, because I'm not sure. I can't really talk about any bouts past tonight. We've talked about a little bit of them. Let's see. The only other thing I can think is Koto Iho here, kind of looking around him. So he could potentially face Takayatsu. That would be a pretty tough match. The 8-2 Takayatsu, the veteran there, would be a pretty formidable opponent. Other than that, you kind of look around who's around him. He hasn't faced Asanoyama, I don't believe, who's 8-2. No, he hasn't faced him either. So there's a couple guys that potentially he could face off with that have good records, but they're not nearly as formidable as other guys in the top. So I am predicting Kota Iho here to win the July Basho, which would be a major upset, someone that low in the rankings. But I think the other top guys are just going to kind of knock each other out. and Kota Iho just kind of seems like the most in form right now. Well, to an extent. Ando Noshiki, I think, is the best Rikishi right now. Um, but he just got the higher level of competition. So they're close. I give the slight edge to Ando Noshiki in terms of like pure Rikishi talent, but Kota Iho has a slightly easier path. Well, the much easier path. So I'm giving him the edge. We'll see how it plays out. Um, and then maybe we'll do a full tournament review at the end of this. I don't know that I'll be on before then, just because the matches are every night, so it moves pretty quickly. All right, thanks guys. Let me know what you think of this. I know sumo's a pretty big pivot from pro wrestling and NBA talk. Um, so if there's anything you want to know, anything I should focus on, we could kind of. I just don't think I would be great at like being a sumo tutor because that's only my second time watching it. But I'm open to feedback. So